Good afternoon. Welcome to GrainTV. My name is Cody. This is Logan Burgess. Today is December 13th, and we had a bit of a mixed trade today. Corn ended up closing down 4 3/4. Beans up 3 1/2. Wheat in Chicago trading down 3 3/4, and Kansas City wheat right behind it down 2 3/4. Logan, we did have export sales released this morning. I think a lot of emphasis is going to be placed on these demand numbers, especially as we go toward January. Did we see any changes from the trends we've observed in the past?
You know, not really, Cody. I think once again, soybeans here outdid what the trade was expecting. Reported sales this morning were 1.3 million metric tons. The high end of analyst expectations was about 850,000 metric tons there. So certainly another exceptionally strong showing for beans. We traded about 19 cents higher at one point. We did back off, though, toward the end of the day. But as you said, the trend continues. Soybean export sales remain exceptionally strong. Corn, though, did have a decent showing when we take a look at it in terms of trade expectations. 272,000 metric tons. That was at the high end of trade expectations for this week. Wheat, a similar story there. We did find a little bit of support for corn and wheat after that huge soybean number, but we really drifted lower toward the close, though.
Yeah, and I think what you were saying there earlier, you were saying corn came in a little bit better in expectations for this week, and I think that helped keep it from selling off. But really, if you take a look at where we are in terms of meeting the USDA's forecast, we continue to underperform, and we underperformed again according to the model over here at GrainHedge. The red line is really what we would expect to see during this time of the year to meet the USDA expectations. And just look at all these weeks, we're just having really very subpar sales. We're coming in well below, and right now we're about 33 million bushels behind pace to meet the USDA expectations. I think if this trend continues, we're going to have to see a revision in January. I expected it in December, but I would suggest if this trend continues, we're going to have to see something in January. If you take a look at beans, completely different story. You can really see we had two very strong weeks back to back. We're 194 million bushels ahead of pace, and that's up from 182 million bushels ahead of pace last week. So the bottom line here is export sales for beans are very strong. The trend continues, while the trend continues also for corn, which is very weak. Logan, we do have NOPA numbers. That's going to be released tomorrow. What are the expectations over there?
The expectations right now, Cody, are 157 million bushels of beans crushed into meal during the month of November. If we take a look at that, that's the highest total that we've seen, or if we can achieve that, it will be the highest total that we've seen since January 2010. So obviously that would be a huge number. That's going to be watched very closely because, Cody, I know you were talking about, we were in general agreement that the USDA, or we thought the USDA was going to need to revise their export sales forecast higher. In the December report, they left that unchanged, but they did revise their crush number 10 million bushels higher. So I think this is kind of the first test of that. Are we going to be able to see an increased crush rate here moving forward?
Yeah, that sounds fair enough. And, if you guys have any questions about what we talked about today, please give us a call at 877-472-4607. Remember, you can take a demo of the futures trading platform that we use here. It's called FireTip. You can watch the markets trade live. Thanks a lot for joining us. We'll see you here on Friday.